Greetings. Brother Elder Blacklight here, shining the light in the dark. See, a lot of you brothers and sisters wasn't even born. That's on YouTube. But y'all want to be pro-black. Y'all want to be Pan-Africanist. Y'all want to be Nubian. Anything that has a word association with the black man, even though we are divided because we think that there's only one way. But the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad shows that every road leads to the Most High. And I call it Allah. You got the son, what you're looking at is Mr. Farrakhan and the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I was fortunate enough to be around Elijah Muhammad's, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's youngest brother, Supreme Minister John Muhammad. And I would pick his brain about Master FARRAKHAN Muhammad because he was the last one living to walk and talk with Master FARRAKHAN Muhammad. And so Wallace D. Mohammed is his nephew. Minister Farrakhan married into the family of the Supreme Minister, yeah, that's right, Supreme Minister, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He didn't marry into it, but he got ties into the Supreme Minister's family. He an in-law, put it like that. And Supreme Minister John Muhammad co-signed Mr. Farrakhan when Mr. Farrakhan was trying to bring the Nation of Islam back. But wouldn't nobody give Supreme Minister John Muhammad no credit or no light. See, this is where brothers show that it ain't all about brotherhood in the nation. I mean, brothers join the Nation of Islam for various reasons. But they using the work of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as a launching pad to launch their own success and career into the world of Islam. So let's see what they're talking about.
You know. I differed with my father.
Yes.
And I didn't want to differ with him.
Yes.
In fact, I never differed with him directly. I was told, he was told that someone heard me saying something different.
Mm-hmm.
So he called me to question me about it. And I told him that I could more readily believe that he was God than I could believe that his teacher was God, because his teacher was a white man, and he said white people were devils. And also I told him that I understand something from your teacher that makes me believe that he said those things, but he also left enough evidence of his real intent, and that was to bring us to the correct idea of God in Islam. And for example, my mother, when I was leaving the home one day, after my father had insisted that I accept God the way he presented God, or I was going to be cut off from all communication. He told me he knew it would hurt me to know that I wouldn't be able to see my mother. He said, you won't be able to talk to your mother or see her. So I didn't change. And as I was leaving, my mother was hurt, and it hurt me to see her hurting like that. She said she walked me to the door.
Now, I don't really know the domestic life of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but Supreme Minister John would be closer to the situation than anybody else. Because after all, he's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's brother. And I'm not going to challenge Wallace D. Muhammad on that. But let's continue. I don't believe him.
Which she didn't do. That was normal for her. When my father excused you, and she stood on the porch at the door and she said, Wallace, why don't you go back there and accept this? Just say you believe. I said, Mama, tell me what Mr. Farrad told you all. I said, did he tell you he was God? And she looked like her face went blank and looked like she didn't know what to say. And a few seconds she said, no, he did not. Said, in fact, he told us to not even call him prophet. Said that was too big a title for him. Then I said to my mother, how can you ask your son now to accept a man as God who told you prophet was too big a title for him?
I see. So I think that is the consistent view that if Master Farrad's contribution has been to
Farrad was sincere. That's my point.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
He was very sincere.
Any Orthodox Muslim out of the 1.2 billion will readily accept that. But when there is any suggestion of something related to being God on earth, then
Well, we're going to pause it right there. Because you see Minister FARRAKHAN was agreeing with Wallace at that point in time. Then later on he disagreed with him. Now I wonder what caused him to disagree. We're going to be exploring and examining this, but it's going to come, later on. But I just want to show you how what he's saying don't make no sense. And because he sent Wallace to go to school somewhere over there in the so-called Middle East, and his mother went with him. And surely I believe that he didn't want the brothers and sisters to know who he was, because Elijah always stated that he didn't want, I'm talking about Master Farrad Muhammad, he always stated that he didn't want the brothers and sisters to know who he was, because he knew that they would spook it up. But he taught the messenger that Allah, was a man. And see, brothers and sisters want to say Allah. We'll put it like this: Allah had the form of a man, the form of a flesh and bones. Put it like that, because the word man means mind, but we use it to describe the flesh, the bones, all aspects of man. And he said mankind was a kind of a man. So if Master Farrakhan, Mohammed, didn't want them to know that Allah came in the person of Master Farrakhan Muhammad, it's because he knew that they couldn't understand, they wouldn't understand that, because Allah supposed to be somewhere up in the sky, outside of his own laws, and everybody had a baby mind at that time, so he couldn't explain it to him about vibrations and quantum physics and metaphysics. They was just barely learning how to read and write and count back in those days. We just not too long got out of slavery and started going to school. And most of us couldn't go to school. We had to work. The Arab Muslims spook it up. And they not united in the way they believe and practice Islam. You got the Sunnis, the Shiites, and, so they catering to someone who wants to promote they style of Islam. And you can believe that the United States is behind it. This is Black Light.